So, Alex and Guila, thank you very much to take the interview from us. Thank
Our
you.
pleasure. Our
Oh, it is
pleasure.
a pleasure.
So you are in Thailand, right? Like Bangkok, to be
Yes,
specific.
currently in Bangkok.
Currently in Bangkok at I think 34 degrees outside. It's a beautiful sunny day.
I can see, yeah, we're still in our like a winter jacket. By the way, so can we hear about like how do you see about the epidemic situation in China? And maybe, like, are you positive about it,
Go ahead with that.
or like how do you always feel more worried? Or
I think what's the current information that we're getting, as with anyone, everyone seems to be following the numbers on an hourly basis to see, how much this could grow, how serious it could be. You know, being outside of China, you don't really see I guess, the individuals, the normal citizens within the city, how they're coping with it. But how we're coping with it from outside of China and viewing it is, I get the feeling at least that the situation is being taken very serious by individuals and citizens within China and the government. And on the positive side is, I don't know if you can really ask much more than what's being done at this current time. Maybe over
Yeah,
to you.
I agree. I was in China here about 10 days ago, and I sort of watched it firsthand. Uh, the authorities are out there. The medical staff are out there taking temperatures on the highways. It doesn't matter the weather. Everybody coming in and out of the cities are being checked for the temperature. Going into places like the Walmart or the wet markets or just your local store. So, or even apartment complexes, they've sort of mobilized the whole population of China to take care of this, and I think that they're doing the best that they can in a bad situation. If it happened anywhere else in the world, the response would have been 100th of what China's response is. So yeah, I'm positive that they're going to be able to take care of this. It's going to take time, but the world should be lucky and happy that it happened in China, just for the fact that the Chinese people are so efficient at stuff like this. So yeah, positive.
what's really going on in China? Like as we are local here, okay, we see it, right? And but many people abroad, like they did not know what's going on. That's maybe what caused their worries. That's the main reason, right? They don't know really what's going on here. And Gui Lao said he's positive because he before he was here, right? So he kind of know what's going on. Do you think what kind of messages like China should send out all these people abroad, if they can feel better? I mean, like compare with what really happened here.
Well, I think they're doing that now with with the media in China showing hospitals being built in 6 days. Like you can't get a room built in Canada in 6 days, and then another 1,600 bed hospital built right after that. The response from the Chinese government opening up and showing the rest of the world what they're doing, just the building of massive hospitals shows them that they're serious about taking care of this.
I think what used to happen when there was a situation many years ago in China, the internet even wasn't in its full steam where it is now, where everyone has mobile phones, everybody has connectivity. And what I have noticed remarkably is that the Chinese government, the Chinese news outlets, have given unprecedented access. We are seeing live webcams inside Wuhan, inside the hospitals. They streamed the building of this to the world unrestricted. They gave access to reporters to show inside these rooms. I have not even seen that much transparency by any government during an outbreak like this. I've never seen it, and I applaud the Chinese government for that. With this, I think China has now set the new barrier on what the rest of the world is going to have to do now if we have any future problems or any new viruses. They're actually going to have to take the blueprints from what happened in China here. If we're going to go about transparency here, yes, when something like this happens, you're not quite sure what you have. You don't want to hit the panic button, and
I think it's better to hit the panic button and err on the side of caution than it
yes,
is to just let it roll out. Like the Chinese government did a good job. And
absolutely,
that's excellent.
absolutely.
Yeah, you think you got the useful information you need to know exactly what's happening in China about this coronavirus?
Like, I don't think that anybody really knows the full scope of what's going on. It's sort of, you're learning as you go along. China has had this happen before in the SARS. I was actually in China during the SARS virus outbreak, and I found that the response this time was so much more than back then. So China's learned from having to go through this in the past, and an excellent job. Yeah.
I mean, I'll keep saying this. The blueprint for what we see here, the blueprint of what's happening, is you have to see from. Let's rewind 2 weeks ago to where we are now, and where we are now is we're at a level where I don't think the world has ever been in before. We are trying new things. The amount of information that has been passed, the amount of media that has updating us. We have apps that are updating us, on the current people infected, what country, what regions, how many people, who's been released from hospital, all in real time.
All in real time, yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing, what technology can do nowadays.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
Yeah, because we are concerned for the overseas, if they want to know what is going on inside China, they can get the correct information.
Well, yeah, because there's so much fake news out there. If you look at the Western
Yeah.
media, I've always said that the Western media is biased against China, and I don't know why they're like this, but they are, and anybody that has any intelligence can see that. How can China sort of counteract that? I think they're doing that already with being open about what's going on in China. The online Chinese media, YouTubers like ourselves that are on the ground in China doing our little thing that we do. I know I've got just about 46,000 subscribers that watch my channel on a daily basis. Things like this all show that it's not like the fake Western media says it is. It's totally different, and I think with all of these things, it's already happening that people, as I say, with intelligence, can see the difference and know what's true.
I think you're going to see, no matter what measures China takes, no matter how great the information is coming out of there, no matter how transparent China is, there will be a tendency to discredit or debunk anything that's China saying at this moment. And this is where, it's people like Guelo and I that go out to our audiences. We do know other individuals within China that are vloggers and we'll call it independent reporters and stuff like that that are getting the information out. And what we find incredibly worrying is that even us that are on the streets there, or even individuals that are living there, because I was just in Chongqing in January, they don't even believe our words from our mouths. And
a lot of times they don't.
And we do take a fair amount of
verbal and abuse on these subjects, but
we take quite a bit of it. But we know the truth. We see inside there. We know as much as we can get. And when you get into if you're concerned about the international community, what their view is on the situation, it's sometimes they will not believe. Even if it's the truth, they will stretch it and it will fit their narrative of what the message that they want to give.
Exactly. They'll twist it whichever way they want, and that's common with a lot of people around the world, and there's nothing you can do about that.
I see. So like as for example, like you have your own channel, right? You have the
Yes.
audience who also care about the situation on your channel, or like even friends around. So what kind of message usually you pass to them, and yeah, why?
Well, I try to pass a positive message to all of my viewers about China. The good that I see, the people, the work ethic. It's amazing. This coronavirus thing is just a hiccup. It'll go away, and China will bounce back to the vibrant country that it has been. Sure, it's rough times right now, but that's not going to last for very long. China is strong. China's one of the strongest countries in the world. So there's no problem there. So I promote positive. I love the people. I love the country. I love the food. It's amazing. I miss my Chinese food. Yes.
I think the message that I'm trying to portray is, if this happened in any other country in the world, I'm not sure that they could even remotely try to quarantine their individuals. The difference here is it's one China, one people.
Exactly.
And that's the difference. And we notice and we recognize that immediately.
It's the Chinese way. Mm-hmm. They do work together. Like, you got 1.4 billion people working together and moving in the same direction. I think that's the amazing thing here.
Thank you. And also a question, like in general, like how do you think, like what impressed you about China's efforts to fight against the epidemic? What are the points you think that need to be learned, and even like set a good example?
Simply mobilizing an entire population to combat this virus, the spread of this virus. You've got housewives putting masks on their kids. You've got medical personnel. You've got the police. You've got security at apartments. All of these people are doing their little part to help, stop the spread of the virus, or to find people with the virus. It's an amazing thing. Like, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. Just the people self-quarantining themselves, people not going to work, people that they could open the restaurants but they don't, so they're taking a financial hit too. So all of these things combined together is what makes this whole thing in China work. It's amazing.
I think China's going to come out of this being,
More united, for
more
sure.
united. Absolutely.
I know the people will be.
Yeah, you need to be very proud of what the people have held together.
Yeah, I think both the government and also the people are trying their best to keep our life as normal. We do a lot of things online. You see, we can order online. We can have our vegetables, meats, the daily necessities being delivered online. And also the students can study online, and as we work online.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep things going on, and it is actually.
Yeah, and it goes right down to the supply chain of the say the truckers that have to be bringing all this stuff into quarantine areas. You don't just quarantine a city of 11 million people without having the infrastructure and the supply chain there. So bringing the food in or the supplies into a place that they can't get out is amazing that China could do something like that and actually make it work.
And this is where, as I spoke to you when I was in Chongqing about building roads, this is where this is where it shows your infrastructure, the people behind the scenes. These are the real heroes here.
You go to Walmart and the shelves are full. You go to your local wet market, and there was no change. It was like they weren't worried at all because they knew that that supply chain would be there.
And I think the world feels that they are immune to this problem, but they're not aware of how much manufacturing and goods that are sent from China into their countries.
Oh, yeah.
And they're probably within 1 or 2 weeks away of saying, wait a minute, we have a supply order, we have an ordering issue that we can't fix at this time. So that is a problem for a lot of these Western countries that do rely on China. Now, you might see the odd individual go on television and say, that's okay, we'll bring the manufacturing to the United States or to other Western countries. But that is probably one of the most comical things I've ever heard. You can't replace, what we spoke about this last night, about how many years China has been, working on the manufacturing and how long that's taken to build that.
Yeah, there's going to be factories around the world shutting down because they can't get parts. Why?
Yeah, I mean, China's the engine. I've always called it the warehouse of the world. And we've used up our supplies. I'm quite surprised there's still a lot of product on the shelves here, but it won't take long. If this continues to go, the pain is going to be felt on the markets worldwide. So this is everyone's problem, and that's why I'm saying everyone during this time should be, stick together, not close down.
Because of the epidemic, the market, or like especially I think also tourism, right, in different aspects has been affected in China. So because Alex, you also call for people to travel to China, right? Like you do vlogs on China, and also Guilao is like promote China for the epidemic. So after this epidemic, we really want to hear like your suggestions on how China, or like also in our city, Chongqing, we can resume our tourism prosperity. Yeah.
Well, I'll answer the first part, and he definitely has an answer for the second part. All the advertisements in the world are not going to help to try to get people back to China. You can put a lot of promotional advertisements out from the tourist board showing how wonderful your cities are, which people still don't believe, and how amazing it is. The only way I feel that you're going to conquer to get tourism back is to reach out and to individuals like ourselves. This is why I took this upon me, this quest of the next 10 years of showing China to the outside world. The people that are viewing my videos are saying, that's China, really? That's China? I cannot believe that. Wow, that's beautiful. I want to visit that city. It's going to take more individuals like myself and Guelo and consortium of I don't want to call us YouTubers, but we'll call YouTubers that go and visit your cities. Not just sit there and say, wow, look at this beautiful park, and leave. Have real events like I was at when I was in China there, meeting the people. It just comes in and it overtakes you as a tourist. I've traveled over 100 countries, and I've never been to one such as China. And if we're going to get the message out and to bring prosperity back to China, it's going to mean that people like Waylo and I and the individuals that we know spend more time in China, getting the message out more on our social platforms throughout the West. This is the only way, because people will, of course, say to us, well, show us what a hospital looks like in China, or show us what a theater looks like in China. And then when we do show them, that breaks down the barriers of skepticism and stereotypes. That really does. And sometimes it bothers people when they see us inside of China. They'll say, why are you in this country? And maybe you can take it over from here. It's
yeah, well, the idea that I've lived in China for so long, and I sort of vlog my daily life and what I think of everything around me. People have been in my home in China. Most people know everything about my life and my wife's life. We take our high-speed trains. We take our airplanes that in Canada would cost you 1,000 Canadian dollars. It's 150 Canadian dollars for the same flights in China. I get on a subway and it costs me 2 or 3 RMB to go across a city of 7 million people. We go to places like Gugong or the Forbidden City, the Great Wall. We go to Guilin, we go to Beihai. We show people that, the people on the farms in, say, Yulin or Bobai. We go to all of these different places. We show all of the people that watch our channels, what it's really like in China, not what the Western people think it's like. And I get this all the time that people say, well, you're the reason that I'm going to China, or you're the reason that we've decided that we want to go spend a month in this particular place in China. Like being promoted, Joseph Lung from Tsingtao News in San Francisco promoted one of my videos on a park in Nanning City, and the views spiked to over 200,000 views in a matter of a week. Things like that make a big difference in promoting China. If influential people in those positions can just plug this channel, the positive channels on YouTube,
that helps us.
It makes a big difference. It helps us get our point across.
Because as our audience grows, they're seeing our message, and our message, it comes from experience and comes from being there in the country. We're not two guys that are talking about China for 5 years and never been there, where you see a lot of people that have opinions on China that have never actually had their feet on the ground. And we take our fair amount of
Abuse.
we have a fair amount of people that have never been to China and form their own opinion. And funny enough, some of them we manage to break through. Some of them, no matter what you say, they will not agree. But that's okay. We will continue to move forward. And what happens is we have our legion of subscribers that we used to have to defend ourselves by saying, no, it really is a great country. And now our viewership is agreeing with most of the things that we're showing, and they're defending it for us.
Well, exactly.
Which is even nicer.
When I get trolls on my channel, I don't respond to them, but my subscribers do. It's one of those things that we've gained some really good people watching and help us control our channels, which is nice.
And I want to also make another point that there are things that we're going to learn from this. And in tourism is very strange how it works. Sometimes catastrophes can actually build tourism. It's strangely enough, it does happen that way, where people go to various sites that were in historic times. I mean, just the bizarre thing, one of the largest tourism places in the Ukraine was where one of their biggest catastrophes in the world were. Yeah. It's bizarre, but people want to maybe go there and experience, firsthand what happened, and it's that is how world travelers are in the world. All right, you have a lovely day and take care. Thanks a lot for the interview.
Bye now.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Yeah, see you around.